What is the budget number approximately in order to put math intervention next year, sort of to expand it?
Right now, the current model is in Title I, it would be cost neutral to our budget. It's in Title I, we have it, we can do it. 2 FTEs, 1 in Ashton, 1 in BF. The current thought we have for the other 3 Ls would be, we have some special education staff that we can retask and make them math interventionists. So it's budget neutral as far as adding new FTEs, but the challenge is still getting enough funding from local and state to not have to cut other things that can live. So right now, we're being efficient, making 3 special ed retasks, 2 Title Is. That still hasn't addressed the middles yet. The high school piece, it's right now we're looking at the after-school programming and the schedule, and that's maybe $15,000 right now for that pilot idea. So that's the idea right now.
Similar? Middle school similar to that?
Middle school, if I had the ability, I would add 2 math interventionists, 1 for each school. I think given the budget constraints, I might have to share the 5 amongst the 7. The 5 might work in the other schools. Actually, the 3, I can't really retask Title I, but the 3. So it really depends on need, I think. We defer see, for the first time ever, we really now know who the red kids are in math. We did that this past winter. That's a first for us. We've done it in reading for years, not in math. Now we know who's red. Now the thing is, what are we going to do?
Other questions, Mrs. Sandsman?
Dr. Thornton, we frequently hear about the low math scores in the state of Rhode Island. And I know that we have other states very close by that are not in that same position. Do you have any thoughts as to why that is? And we sort of like, what has gotten us to that place? And why is it that, 15 minutes away, they're not in the same place that we are because they're across the state line?
Yeah. I think one thing my experience has been, Rhode Island's big on local control. Roger Williams, it's Rhode Island, we do our thing. 36 districts, we're all doing our thing. In some cases, I think the recent past, that hurt Rhode Island. Math was very top-down. Statewide math curriculum, since the early 90s, here it is, do it. And that got them very tight and organized. We've been muddling Rhode Island for about 2 decades, trying to get this together. Only recently we're talking about commonness. So I think Rhode Island's where math was 20 years ago. I think getting their act together, getting on the same page. That's the biggest thing. The other thing is, I think we're still figuring out, we all grew up taking Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. Remember that sequence? A lot of folks are saying now that's probably not the best sequence. You should rethink that. And I think some schools are doing that now.
Just a quick follow-up. So I've heard that before, they were 20 years behind, but obviously we don't have 20 years to catch up. So what are your thoughts or your levels of optimism in terms of accelerating that catch-up?
I think same thing as someone reading. In a short period of time, you invest in money in reading, and you move your reading scores really, really well. Same thing in math. Actually, in math, if you look at BF and the high school, the 2 real concerns, they have a lot of room for improvement. You can move those pretty quickly because they're low. I think a lot of it is time. Time can't be the constant. Normally in education, we teach for 45 minutes. Some kids get A's, B's, C's, and D's. We move on. We're saying, no, we can stop that. Kids that need more time get more time, and we really make it a priority. That's why I know some parents have expressed concern to me that I'm saying to kids at the high school, you're mandated to a math program after school to get extra help to be proficient. And some folks are saying, well, they don't want to stay. I'm like, well, it's not an option anymore. I think historically we invite kids to stay. We're now saying your day's lengthened because you need the help. I want you to graduate. Right now, we can't graduate kids that are proficient in math. Right now, we are. So time's the biggest thing we have to really make different.
Thank you. In the spirit of time, considering the concerns that the committee's raised, can we certainly have more face-to-face meetings with certain groups, particularly the high school math, if we could meet with them periodically, and my preference would be monthly?
That's a great idea. I think monthly, you really come back and just keep asking the question, where are we? And ask me, what common assessments have we built to track progress of the math students right now? We should have programs right now. We have now K-INSWEB. We have a little program, if you will, it's electronic. We can do pulse checks on them and see where they are and track them. It's called a curriculum-based measure, a CBM, quick test, and we can see how they're doing. High school doesn't have the interweb, but we need other things to track the progress. That's the Chris Scott pilot concept. We need more of that. I'd say yes, monthly, come back and just show you cohort of 400 kids. Last month, they were here. This month, they're here. And keep asking the question. Here we are. Here's where we're going. We'll come back next month, try this, and this, and keep reporting back.
Well, and I think what we've learned with the face-to-face discussions is many of the issues or problems that we've had are consistent across different curricular areas. So if we can kind of accelerate some of the work as opposed to saying we're going to develop one assessment for this semester, maybe a little bit of heat can help develop multiple ones at the same time.
I think we need a sense of urgency on this. Also, as you know, we're going to be hiring an assistant soup. The first goal I'm giving him or her would be to be very aggressive on the math and make it an absolute priority for the year. We're going to move on the math program.
I do have a question about the released items. You said you would be reviewing them with the principals. Will that be the collection of released items or specifically the ones from this year?
I'd start with this year to look for trends and then go back. I know some principals have done this for a long time and some I'm not sure they have, so I want to really get a sense from the district. We all know what we're talking about with the released items, then look for trends over time. I'm pretty confident we'll see what I saw just now, F&A and G&M for math. We're going to find that.
And interestingly enough, the one item that you had pulled up for F&A, you said, is almost identical to an item that we had in a discussion years ago when we were talking about NECAP scores with the little box and the, what's the proper answer. So while it may have been addressed at some schools, it clearly hasn't been addressed at all schools because you're seeing some big holes.
I think also the biggest thing for teachers is a lot of times they're trying to cover everything. In America, we cover a lot. It's called a mile wide, an inch deep. In a lot of the countries that do really well, Finland, places, other places, they go less and they go really deep. That's why I'm telling teachers as we go through this, I want you to identify the big ideas or power standards in all the curriculum. So in grade 4, there are probably 10 really important things. What are they? We're going to make those non-negotiable. The other curriculum we're going to cover, but if you find you're going along the first quarter, half your class is missing the big idea, stop and reteach it. I give you permission to stop. I don't want them to be running and covering or missing big things. I think that's a cultural shift. I think the data center, we've been telling folks they have to cover, have a pacing guide. I get that, but to a point. You have to have some reasonableness, and you can't leave big ideas if kids don't get it.
Just to follow up on the power standards, when do you think that will be done?
It's starting already. Right now, we have some committees working on that right now for the report card. If our report card, Mr. Sharkhart is actually leading that right now. We started that this whole with Ms. Carney. The trick there is there are a lot of standards in ELA and math, and that's actually easy. Math are 6 big ones you heard already. ELA is listening, speaking, etc. Folks who really want to be detail-oriented could list a lot. We're telling them, nope, we need 2 or 3 for each one. The big ideas for the report card, because Mike Chandler has to fit it on one page on the front. So we figure, we have to have ELA 10 or 12, math 6, history, art, etc. And we have to really get them together. And sometimes people don't agree if they get them to consents. Get them together and really get them to look at what matters most. And that's happening now. So by the end of the year, we'll have a report card. That K-5 report card will drive the power standards for the K-5. That'll be done by doing the report card. That makes it happen. In middle school, I know, I talked to Principal Drolet a while ago. He's looking at a report card that's also standards-based. And actually, his report card was interesting. They had pictures of the teachers picture, so it'd be picture, then standards thing on the side. So that was interesting how they do that.
And what's the expectation for having that report card ready?
I haven't pushed in the middle school as much. I'm trying to be cognizant of the capacity of people and moving fast in a lot of things. So I did tell them K-5 is non-negotiable. That's done. I did say the middle and the high, after full day K is voted up or down, we're going to talk about grading policy most of the spring, and that drives the report card conversation. So I'm trying to be patient in the middle and the high. Our grading policy committee had really thought about passing a policy in the spring, mandating that K-5 goes right away, and maybe giving the high school, middle school that extra year to kind of get everything lined up, benchmark standards, all those things. That's kind of been the thinking so far, because it's really a capacity issue to do everything I'm asking them to do. I've launched 5 or 6 initiatives on them, so I'm moving pretty quick.
Can you also speak a little bit to the math changes at the middle school that you are expecting?
Yep, the math, we looked at the math series that we use, both K-5 and the middle. I had a lot of concerns in the middle school one. I was told, it's only aligned to around 40% to the curriculum. That's a problem. So we had to look at what math series are out there, and I believe they've narrowed it down to 2. In the budget, we have a line item for it. It's around $66,000 to do a new math series at the middle school. And that's the first piece. That has to be fixed. We're using a vehicle right now that's not really coordinated to the curriculum. So that's going to be fixed. The K-5, we have investigations. While controversial to some, if you know investigations, where we don't do the regular, this times this, carry the 1, it is crosswalk to around 70% to the our curriculum. I would say, I know some folks may want to rethink it. To me, it's not first priority, but we can certainly look at it. To replace a K-5 series would be more expensive. That's certainly, we can talk about that too.
And I'll just add the comment, one of the things we did discuss this week at Achievement Sub was the discussion about special education. And what it made me realize is much of our curriculum is probably a little too stuck in time and doesn't have the tools necessarily to help all students, particularly the students of special education. So it seems like we've got old curriculum. Those items aren't there to help those students, whether we call it now RTI, which all students could benefit from, but as well as those specifically for special education.
I think you're right. I think also having our new website has helped a lot, because now we publicize the curriculum. We see what we like, we don't like. We have a policy book online. We see what's good and what's not good. Just putting it up there first has really opened up a lot of conversations around what we're teaching. So I like that a lot, having it up there.
Any other questions?